It's 2020, and there is a revolution underway.
Hi, I'm Kathy Smith, and welcome to On Health, the Art of Living. What is the average American eating? Why is gut health so important? What is this new research?
Americans get 5 or more servings of fruits and vegetables a day.
Shocking. I was sucked in after the first chapter.
The more that you focus on the path, the more likely the goal will come to you.
The podcast is available wherever you listen, so just search The Art of Living with Kathy Smith. Hi, I'm Kathy Smith, and welcome to On Health, the Art of Living, where each week I'm bringing you the latest information on how to live a healthier, more vibrant, more passion-driven life. Okay, today's topic, it's on mental strength. So one of the most frequently asked questions I get is, Kathy, how do I stay motivated? How do I get the most out of my workouts? Well, factors that throw us off our game are boredom, stress, time constraints, injuries. The list goes on and on. So I've said it many times, but the key to peak performance, whether you're a weekend warrior, whether you're just beginning to exercise, or even if you're an Olympic athlete, is to maintain a consistent rhythm. So today's guest, I'm very excited about, drum roll please, my daughter, Kate Grace. I've been lucky enough to have her here in Park City for a few weeks because she's altitude training with the Nike team. Now, Kate is a professional track and field athlete. You might remember she was on the show a couple of years ago when she had gone to Rio. It was after her breakthrough performance at the Rio Olympics. Now, she ran the 800 meters and she made it to the finals, and we were so excited. Well, that year, this is the year that we were supposed to have the Olympics, and we were supposed to be in Tokyo if she had made it, until the pandemic took over. And so now the Olympics have been postponed until next year, which means athletes are having to use all of their tools so they can adapt, pivot, stay motivated, and mentally tough, even when their timeline has been completely upended. Today, I want to talk about some of the biggest lessons that I've learned from my daughter in terms of how she trains her mind as well as her body so she can push through plateaus in training, setbacks like Olympic cancellations, and stay focused and consistent over the years. So whether you have your sights set on the Olympics or a marathon or a 5K or just getting out of bed in the morning and going for your morning walk, we can all benefit from tips and tricks on how to flex your motivational muscle, turn off the negative self-talk, and borrow a line from one of Kate's sponsors, just do it. So Kate, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
I know, isn't that fun?
Yeah.
So, it's fun because, we've been, through this journey, and I've seen you from the time, as far as your professional, before that, your school, and then high school, and then elementary school. But the thing that I find most fascinating about this whole process for you is not that you can run faster than the speed of light and you can do a mile, and like whenever people find what you do a mile in like 4:20 something or something, their jaw drops. But that's all impressive. But what is more impressive to me is this thing that we talk about, this mental strength. And I'm looking forward to discussing it today, because even though people think it's all about heading to the Olympics, I mean, every single person I talk to get out of bed, keep exercising, keep it going. So why don't you just tell us a little bit, like, how would you define mental strength?
What I've learned over the years is you can have all the knowledge in the world, all the resources now with Nike, incredible coaches and training partners, but it doesn't matter if you don't get out and keep doing the workouts, right? Or if you have one bad workout and then you just stop. Or if you're not focused enough in the workout, or after the fact, if you don't feel good, if you're feeling negative about yourself, having negative self-talk. And so I think,
or even when you don't perform well, like you're in a race or something, you don't perform well.
Exactly. So in a way, we say that mental training is training. It's an integral part of it, and you have to have that side, just like you have to have your strength or your endurance. For me, it really hit home after 2016, to be honest. I was on the top of the world. I felt like I was so mentally strong, and I moved to Portland, and I joined the Bowerman team, which is a Nike-sponsored club, and it was the opportunity of a lifetime gold medalist, world record holders, or American record holders, and I was struggling. I was like, honestly, I wasn't as motivated in my workouts. I didn't feel like I was really like had any kind of passion in races, and it was a little bit of a red flag. So I actually reached out to a mental performance coach, Brian Zugler, who I will link in the show notes, and kind of just like reminded myself that just like any other aspect of training, you have to train this side. You can't just set it and forget it, right? You can't just be, oh, I was mentally strong once, I'm just going to forget about this. We are always dealing with new hurdles. We're dealing with new hurdles this year with the pandemic, and it always behooves us to have more tools in our toolbox, to be adaptable, to be able to be consistent, to self-motivate, to be focused, to have quality practice. And the more that we have that, then we're just more able to rise to the challenge and get all the work and get the best out of the work.
Okay, so you mentioned motivation. I know this idea that I think the hardest thing for everybody, whichever level you're at, is how do you stay motivated every day, every week, every year, on and on and on. And one of the things I talk about all the time is finding the power of why. Why are you doing it? So when I have people work out, I have them write down, why do you want to work out? And usually it starts with, oh, I need to lose a little weight, or I want a little firmer, behind or tummy or something like that. But that is all external, and it's very short term. And so then I say, well, why don't you write down what else? Well, my doctor said my cholesterol levels are too high, or my, I find that I don't have any sex drive anymore, or I have no energy in the afternoon. And I say, well, why else? And I keep, well, my skin's gotten a little sallow, and they keep going. I don't feel good about myself. And pretty soon you have this long list of why you are getting out and moving your body. And it really has nothing to do with thinner thighs or a tighter tummy. It has to do about your brain function and about your entire life. And that's what I call the power of why. But I know that you have a lot of interesting things to say about this idea of how do you get in the reward, the inside reward, or what do you call it?
The intrinsic motivation or the internal motivation. No, exactly. They do say that having a strong why statement or having your values align with your actions is the surest way to be more consistent. But I was struggling with this, to be honest, when the Olympics got canceled, because he kept having me, okay, we're gonna track our motivations. What's your internal motivation today? What's your intrinsic motivation? That could be for the fun of it, for the love of it, just the pure enjoyment of being outside. And
so let me get that straight. So it's not like I'm going out to run today so I can take off another second off my time.
Right.
I'm going out to run today because there's fresh air and I'm being with my teammates, or I'm gonna.
Exactly. And the thing is, but then I was saying, but actually, am I only externally motivated? Because to be honest, like I was training for the Olympics. I wanted to do well there. And so it was hard for me to be like, wait, is that, now that this is taken away, do I have other motivations? And I learned about this thing called the justification effect. So we see it when people are paid a lot of money. Even if you start something for like internally motivated, you love your job, you love running, as soon as you have a really big external motivator, like gold medal or $1 million, people then actually show that they can become less internally motivated. So they almost forget why they originally started. And the answer to that is, it's kind of this idea like where your focus goes grows, right? So if you put your focus on those internal motivations, you like remember why you did these, you can still have the external ones, they can still be important, but you're still focusing, you can be journaling about them, like remembering the internal whys, that will enable you to push through those times when the external rewards aren't there.
So true. It's like, what gets you, I mean, I remember I used to say, you could pay, now I get paid for helping people exercise,
Yeah.
but I would do it for free because I love what I did. I love what I do. And so being paid or not paid is not a factor. It's nice to get paid, obviously, but that's not what's getting me up every day to do what I do. So that's really, really important. So what about this thing of, I do know this thing about, I want to switch gears a little bit and go into this aspect of self-love. And we talked a little bit about it in the opening of the show, but I know that we all get into this itty bitty shitty committee type of mentality, like, I'm not good enough, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not rich enough, I'm not fast enough, I'm never going to be as good as the person next to me, that sort of thing. Yeah. And when that takes over with anybody in life, in any field, it really holds you back. But I assume that as an elite athlete, it's got to be something that you must have to deal with.
Yeah, we like to say that happy athletes perform better, which is just to say that if you're performing from this place of peace and joy, you can just grow from there. It's like this idea that you have a strong foundation, you aren't lacking in anything. And if you have a strong foundation, you can build higher, right? But I mean, how are we gonna be happy? It's one of those things that's like the most simple question, but also most difficult, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean,
easier said than
done. Exactly. In terms of focusing on how to focus on self-esteem, I think for me it really hit home. I think we talked about this before in 2013 and 2014. We would do this thing where we would do fashion shows. So we would go and we'd have like athletes with the models at the fashion shows.
I remember New York City.
Yeah, you were there. And I just I hated it, to be honest. Like I meant for months beforehand. I was so down on myself, just like, oh, this is gonna be horrible. I'm comparing myself to the models. And like, I'm gonna be looking too muscly, or just like, I don't know, I'm not in my element, right? And it was like worst mental state. And I remember going there, and then I remember after the fact, I was getting ready for like the after party with like one of my best friends, person that I love most in the world. And I could just see her, and she was just sallow. It was so clear that she wasn't in a place, she didn't want to get dressed, she didn't want to go out because she felt like she needed to lose 10 pounds, and like it wasn't worth her time to go out because like she didn't feel good about herself. And it literally broke my heart, but it was just it was an awakening moment for me, because I was like, that's me. I was this person. I am where she wants to be. So maybe like she's a little bit more weight than I do. She thinks that she'll be happy where I am. I'm super upset right now because I'm comparing myself to the models, and I think, oh, I'm not that good. I'm not worthy. I shouldn't be out. Like, I'm gonna hide myself or whatever. And you realize it's just this cycle. It's just this insidious cycle, and that if you're always looking to be the prettiest person or the fittest person, you're never gonna win. And even if you are an athlete and you actually are looking to be the fittest person, it can't come from this place of lack. It has to come from this place of like worthiness and gratefulness. I think that's in terms of tips on how to do it.
Let me just ask you, because that brings up, because I remember at the finals of the Rio Olympics, there you are on the starting line, and there is Caster Semenya, who's #1 in the world, and you're in your lanes and stuff like that. But how does it feel to be on that starting line and you're ready and it gets dead? I remember whether we were in London or Rio, like in London, where it's like you hear 60,000 people and you hear shh, and everybody goes silent. There's not, and then it's boom, the gun goes off. But you're next to all of these number one from Canada, #1 from South Africa, or from Africa,
yeah.
Whatever. How do you stay like, okay, I can compete in this zone right here? How does that happen?
Practice. That's literally part of it, because I think part of it is even from the time I was in high school, I remember you taking me and doing breathing exercises before. It's all kind of the same. And this is the thing, again, with the mental training, is that a high school meet is no scarier than an Olympic meet, in that it is real to you. The fear is real. And so you can take these tactics and you can just practice these tactics of getting out there and believing in yourself. I also use affirmations. So I have a funny one. If I start thinking too much about other people, like my competitors, I'm like, oh, I'm on a run, I'm hurting, I'm like, oh, I bet she's feeling good right now. I say, I am me and I love me some me. It's like, I'm me and I love me some me. And basically,
I love me some me?
Yeah.
I am me and I love me some me.
Basically, yeah. Just being like, it's kind of funny,
yeah,
and it's kind of like irreverent, and it's like, you know what, it's true. Like, I think I'm great, and maybe I'm not going to be as fast as her every single day, but I have a good story, and I believe I can improve. And in a way, because it's kind of funny, it kind of gets you out of that negative self-talk.
That spiral.
Yeah, that spiral.
Where you got to stop it. Well, getting to the thing, you mentioned something just that I want to get back to, because you said you practice for the moment. And I know that we talked about this thing called discomfort training, and that we've, this idea that you train for that moment. You go into uncomfortable zones to train, because you're going to be uncomfortable. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yes, exactly. That's it. I mean, I think it's the idea of getting comfortable being uncomfortable, right? And there are so many things in life in which we have to go through this period where it might not be easy. It's easier just to lie in bed. But we do want these goals. And so how are we going to get ourselves to this point where we're stepping out of our comfort zone? And I think the thing is that when you realize that the training, it's training your mind as well as your body. So when you're doing a hard workout, you're doing something that you're not as comfortable with, you're also telling your mind, I can do these things. I can do hard things. I can try and fail. And by slowly showing yourself that, it's almost like you're doing like acclimatization training. So you're getting more used to this feeling of stepping outside, realizing you don't die, it's okay. It actually feels kind of fun to push your limits and see what happens. For the discomfort training specifically, it's this idea that you actually want to get into that place because, again, it's making it more comfortable. So when you feel this feeling of your heart rate rising and you're getting nervous, you can say a little mantra and you just try to like breathe into your space. So in a workout, I also do it, to be honest, when I'm just feeling in weird situations, like on planes.
Performing
Yeah,
on
performing.
stage.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, again, when you go on stage, or even when you go on camera, or whatever, that second before. I know for me, it's just going into inhale, 2, 3, 4, exhale.
Exactly, and I learned it from you.
I know.
And the little mantra from him is, I'm a discomfort master. Everything that I need to succeed is within me, and it is here to stay. Which, again, you can kind of use any mantra you want, but I like that one. It's just very calming. They say, think of someone you love, think of a song that you, or a song that you love, or a place that is a very happy memory, and you just practice being in the place of discomfort, but almost finding your peace there. And again, yeah, I'll do that before performing, on planes. If I'm getting my blood drawn, which I really hate, I'll do that. Because I'm like, this is an opportunity to practice being in a place that I don't like to be and being okay with it.
Well, okay, then being in a place you don't like to be, but that reminds me of this idea of breathing and this concept of mindfulness that you talk a lot about. And I really want to jump into this because I think it's a big thing for exercisers, but how do you stay focused, and how do you get mindful in your practice? A lot of times we think about mindfulness as, you're a meditator and you're going to sit down and close your eyes and breathe for a minute. But the trick with exercise, and and I'm sure what you're going to talk about with performance, is how do you stay mindful in your practices, and how does that help your performance?
No, exactly. I mean, I just remember growing up when you used to have us meditate. And I kind of remember someplace, like in some vacation, you're like, just try it for a minute. and I closed my eyes for like 10 seconds. I was like, I did it, it's fine, it's done, or whatever. But I realized you were on something.
I always knew you were going to go to greatness because you were definitely stubborn.
But I mean, again, I think what it really hit it home for me this year is I realized that in 4-minute segments, my races are 4 minutes long, that I was losing focus. And I was like, how is it possible that I can't be focused for this short period of time? Or that I need my phone every time I go out for a walk or for a run. And I was like, what if I just try not? What if I just try being in myself? It's kind of a lot what you do, even with walking and breathing, using the workout as a meditation. So I'll go for a run and I might do a body scan where I'll try to feel the areas of my body, or I'll try to listen to all the different sounds that are coming on either side. Not forever, I'm not the best at it, but it is just, again, it's a practice.
Even the snippets, 30 seconds, a minute. You see by constant practicing year in and year out that all of a sudden you go into the gym. Like I see this in the gym all the time. Somebody's in the gym and they're on the treadmill or they're doing whatever and they're reading their book or they're even doing their weights and they're saying, so what did you have for dinner last night? And oh, what are you going to make tonight? As opposed to at least one workout a week where you're there and it's like, bicep. And really when you get into it, what's fascinating, I know you know this, it's like, oh, I feel the fibers. I feel that. Oh, I feel it going up here. Oh my God, I feel, oh, if I bold my elbow right here, it goes all the way to the chest. And you start to, your body just enlivens because you start to feel every single part of it. And I would imagine, because I am watching the Michael Jordan, The Last Dance on HBO, and I'm on segment 4 right now.
Oh, it's
or not
amazing.
HBO, no, but Netflix. But,
Yeah.
and that sort of being in the zone, being present, and that idea of being present, like even in this conversation right now, to be present and not be worried about anything else that's happening, but be here, right? Be here in the moment. And I would imagine, to your point, the 800 meters, so for everybody at home, 800 meter is twice around the track, which she ran in Rio. Now she's running 1500s, which is basically 4 times around the track. And the 800 meter is a 2-minute race. The other is about a 4-minute something race. And the fact that you have to stay in what some people call the pain zone or whatever for a long period of time, and you have to stay focused. So any other tips for that?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly it. And I think that's the thing is that what you're doing in the gym translates to outside of the gym. So even right here, being able to, if you're doing some kind of work, or even just with your family, how are you going to be in the moment and present? I mean, I learned the quality practice thing from you, watching you at the gym, just like seeing how you can get so much more out of your reps if you're just in it in the moment. Not that everyone has to be.
There's times for there's time to listen to music and chat, and there's time for both of it.
Exactly. I mean, one thing that I do is I think just literally just having a goal for the day or having a goal for the session helps, because sometimes the session is, this is going to be, I'm going all in. Like, this is going to be a really hard session. I want max effort, and then I know, if I know going in there, then I can really put my focus toward that. On the other hand, it could be a recovery session, and to be honest, I feel like people don't have that as a goal enough. Is like, today's a recovery. I actually want to be socializing, because socialization actually helps bring up those good hormones or decrease cortisol. So I want to be talking to someone the whole time, and we're going to go super easy.
Everybody thinks that you go balls to the walls.
Yes, exactly. No, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing that people don't understand with elite athletes is that it's fun. 80% of the time we're talking, we're laughing, we're joking with people. Maybe not 80%, but a good amount is very conversational. And I think that's another thing with people with any exercise routine, they can get into hiccups, is because if you think it's supposed to be a grind every day, you're not going to do it, right? You won't continue. But if most of the time it's enjoyable and you're having fun or you're doing it with a friend, there's even more likelihood that you're going to keep coming back. And then once or twice a week, do a really hard session.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. And so I know we have to wrap up here and just I know. No. But is there something, I just want to see if we missed, I know you like this concept of quality over quantity. I don't know if we touched on that, but if there's anything else you want to say about that?
I think the quality over quantity was kind of what you were saying in terms of this idea of having a focus for the session, of how much more you can get out of anything, of your strength work, of your endurance. You don't have to just, in a way, doing an extra 2-hour a week doesn't matter if you're doing it haphazardly. If you're doing it, we were saying it's mindless repeats over mindful repetition. So it's like you're doing it mindfully versus just the mindless kind of.
So for the average, for most of us, your workouts can be much shorter.
Right.
If you're more mindful in it, just like get it out. I did just something here today that was like a 10 minutes that just kicked
exactly
me because I was really focused on it.
And then, I think the only other thing is what people always ask about is like how to get through this this idea of plateaus, or how to kind of have this grit to or toughness. And I think a lot of people deal with. I mean, I know for me, I say I have set PRs every year. So in some event, I am like having a personal best, but I also go through long stretches where I don't PR, like in the 800, for example. It was 3 years before the Rio Olympics, which I hadn't run faster. I hadn't run a personal best. And it's really common, in fact, more common than you realize in athletes, to kind of have this up and down, and how to ride that out.
But so when you're having a plateau, it's not giving up, that you just, there's a belief that there's going to be success at the end of it if you just do the work.
Exactly. And I think also just focusing more on this idea of this mastery mindset, or this idea of like the path as the goal. So the more even that harkens back to the idea of the internal motivation, is that if your motivation is just you want to become a master at this craft, like I want to get better. Think of yourself as an artist. I want to just learn the craft. Then it becomes this exciting element of education and knowledge versus always getting down on yourself if you're not reaching your goal immediately. And the paradox of it is that the more that you focus on the path, the more likely the goal will come to you.
Exactly. So well said. Okay, so what's for dinner tonight?
I think you're making dinner tonight. Our favorite dinner. Burritos, a burrito night, or taco night.
It's burrito taco night. Well, Kate, you know, I could talk all day, you know that, but I have to say my big takeaway is that flexing your motivational muscle and developing mental strength is just as important as developing your physical strength. And each of us support one another in doing this, and when we do, then it helps us stay on track, and it helps, to Kate's point, and when you start to work on your mental strength, you stay on track, they go hand in hand, and then you get the best results. And remember, thinking about mental strength is different than in practicing it every day. If you put those daily habits into action, and that's the big thing, you put them into action, they're going to compound your workouts, which means make it better and enable you to get the most out of your routine, reach your goals, be more fulfilled and happier while you're doing it, and that's the important part. And on that note, I have to bid you adieu. I don't know, we're allowed.
I know.
But thank you so much for coming on the show. I love you.
That was so much fun. I love you too.